Now, Monday's tragedy comes after Congress passed the widest-ranging gun control bill in more than 30 years in response to mass shootings in Uvalde, Texas, and Buffalo, New York, that left a combined 31 people dead. According to data from the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 313 mass shootings and 15 mass murders in 2022. The organization defines mass shootings as 4 or more shot and or killed by gunfire. President Biden reacted to the shooting, vowing to keep fighting to end gun violence.
Before I left for Europe, I signed a law, the first real gun safety law in 30 years. And things will get better still, but not without more hard work together. You all heard what happened. You all heard what happened today. But each day we're reminded there's nothing guaranteed about our democracy, nothing guaranteed about our way of life. We have to fight for it, defend it, and earn it by voting.
And one of the men who fought for and defended that freedom was former ATF agent and president of S3 Global Consulting, Scott Sweetow, is here to discuss more about this. And Scott, we're going to get to this mass casualty incident, but I want to tell you about some news we've just recently gotten into the newsroom, that they've recovered the rifle. It was a high-powered rifle, and that they are testing it. Now, you worked for the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. What are they testing that rifle for, and what might it reveal about this shooting?
So probably the most important thing is they want to make sure that the rifle that was recovered was the one actually used in the shooting. It sounds simple, or it sounds obvious, but you need to make sure, since this guy is still alive, that you document the weapon that was used and that it was the weapon that that killed these 6 people. So they're doing ballistics tests on it right now. Firearm and tool marks examiners are going to be going over to make sure that it is, in fact, the one and only weapon that was used in the shooting.
Now, Scott, 9 hours passed between the shooting and when he hasn't been named a suspect specifically in this shooting, but when this person of interest, Bobby Crimo, was captured in Lake Forest, which is just north of Highland Park. They found him in his car. They told him to get out of his car. He got down. There was no shooting as far as we know, and there was no violence with him being taken into custody. That is a win for law enforcement as far as I can see. What challenges do law enforcement face trying to find someone in and around America's 3rd largest city, and trying not to make sure that no one else gets hurt?
So first of all, it's interesting that this happened on the 4th of July, a holiday where Americans are celebrating freedom and independence. But we're not a surveillance state. We're not like China. And because of that, law enforcement has limited tools to use to identify people. And one of the best tools is the help of the public, who obviously wants to make sure that this person is caught. So that's why you saw law enforcement come forward and say that they wanted any camera footage that people may have had, because everybody now is walking around with a high definition camera on their hip. And they were looking for that footage so that they could identify the person, because the eyewitness reports were that the person was difficult to see. They were somewhat concealed. So you don't have like a classic eyewitness sighting as you would in some of these cases. And because there was a delay from the time that the shooter opened fire until they were caught, you really need to make sure that you've identified the right person, and that because there were so many casualties in this case, you have an airtight, absolutely solid criminal case against this person. And that's going to include their digital exhaust, what they've been putting online, their cell phone information, that data coming off of the towers, to make sure that it shows that they were pinpointed close by where the shooting occurred, and a lot of little things that all together are going to add up to an airtight case, hopefully, against this person.
Now, from what you know of the suspect, and forgive me if you don't know that much about the suspect, I know it's early, but from what you do know about the suspect, does this fit the profile of other mass murderers?
Yeah, sadly, it's exactly in line with this. You look at some of the social media postings that are ascribed to this guy, and they depict significant violence. Somebody holding what appears to be a semi-automatic rifle and shooting at people, and his commentary about saying that he's planning on doing something big, or words to that effect that were posted back in late 2021. And he's a young male, And it's very, very sad because these folks almost seem to be cookie cutters. They're young men who have a significant violent social media history or content, and they kind of foreshadow that they're going to do something. And that's what makes it all the more frustrating is these people are giving clues that they're going to do something, but not enough people are listening, or they're listening and they just don't pick up the phone and call law enforcement and say, hey, I'm concerned about this person. They seem like they're violent. I just wanted to let you know, the kind of see something, say something phenomenon.
Well, and again, I know that you are not directly connected to this case, but you mentioned cookie cutter, and you said there's foreshadowing. That kind of leads me to believe that somebody should have seen something, said something, and this should have never happened.
Well, he was out there on social media. He was trying to publicize his brand as some sort of a DJ. He wasn't hiding the fact that he had these violent thoughts and was drawing cartoons or publicizing cartoons. And that's what's so frustrating about it is, there's a culture in America that you don't want to snitch on somebody or that you don't want to say something. But really, it's only if people get involved and report these kinds of things to law enforcement that there's any chance at all of intercepting these things other than just through blind luck, or you catch them after the fact, and by then the carnage has already happened and it's too late.
And carnage is what we have. This is former ATF agent and the president of S3 Global Consulting, Scott Sweetow. Thank you very much for coming on Early Morning.
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate it.